Welcome back to another episode of Community Conversations. I'm your host, Andrea Zeydelis, founder and CEO of Better Together Community. Today, we're talking to Michelle Daniels-Holloway of S.P.E.A.K Out Loud Foundation, a new nonprofit based out of Los Angeles, California. Welcome, Michelle. I'm so glad you're here today.
Hi there. I am the founder and executive director of a youth nonprofit organization based in Los Angeles, California by the name of S.P.E.A.K Out Loud. S.P.E.A.K is an acronym that stands for Sharing Positivity, Encouragement, and Kindness Out Loud. And that was actually created about 10 years ago. It kind of stems from a personal story of mine, and I'll jump into that in just a second. But the whole mission behind S.P.E.A.K Out Loud is to empower underserved and at-risk youth to live a greater quality of life through the arts, technology, education, resources, and advocacy. So that's a little bit about our mission. Ultimately, S.P.E.A.K Out Loud envisions a new blueprint in the world. We definitely see a place where we can birth real positive systemic change and create progressive benefits for underserved and at-risk youth worldwide. It's always hard when it comes to me. I love talking, encouraging and sharing about other people. But when it comes to myself, wow, I will just kind of back up just a little bit. I am a wife and a mother. I am executive and founder, so my life is fairly busy, to say the least. I have this passion for people, to help better people, to empower people to become the best version of themselves. And that kind of stems from my childhood. Everyone has a story. I grew up in a single parent home. My mother was raising 3 children. It was definitely challenging and very humbling times back then, which definitely inspired who I am today. Having to experience some of the challenges that we faced in our childhood and some of the obstacles that we had to overcome definitely led me into wanting more out of life, a better quality of life. And so I definitely, when I reached a particular age and I realized that I was solely responsible for the success of my future, I took hold of that and I began to seek out ways that I can better myself and become a better person, and began to develop from the inside out. And that kind of transpired into wanting to help others and seeing that I can actually come from a place and turn that into whatever I ultimately desire if I put in the work and the development and I truly believe in myself and others. And so I did that. I'm grateful. I've been able to accomplish some pretty cool things in my life. I'm currently a published author. I have 2 books out, working on my 3rd. A certified life coach, motivational speaker. I love people. I've been fortunate to grace the stage with lots of people to empower youth. And S.P.E.A.K Out Loud actually started as a program. Again, it started 10 years ago with the idea to empower people. This turned into a curriculum that were actually workshops, and then eventually evolved into a full 501c3 organization. I'm just really grateful for this opportunity to impact youth. And my passion stems from who I am. It's really close to heart. I remember when I was in my youth and desiring certain things that I did not have, and wanting to, or wishing that I had like some type of guidance. My mom, she did the best that she could, but it's hard being a single mother raising 3 kids. So, she gave what she could, and I love her for that. But we definitely were in lack, and I wanted more out of life. And so now I am just grateful to be in a position to help give that to others.
Tell me your acronym again. S.P.E.A.K.
Oh, yeah, S.P.E.A.K. Yes, thank you. So S.P.E.A.K stands for Sharing Positivity, Encouragement, and Kindness Out Loud. And so, yeah, when you break that down, that's S.P.E.A.K Out Loud. And so definitely our core values embody that, it's very important that we share positivity with others, that we encourage one another, that we use kindness, because kindness goes a long way. You know, sometimes it's just those little acts of kindness that can literally change someone's day, right? Or their week or their month or their life. You just never know. So I believe in kindness and the power behind that, and what that can do. And I've seen it based on personal experiences. I've been very fortunate to see that kindness goes a long way. And so when we can embody that and when we can share that with others, I believe great things can happen from that.
Right.
I'm truly grateful. You know, I've had a few people at different events mention that. They're like, wow, your logo, like, what's this about? And they inquire, and it's always a very humbling thing. It's always humbling when you know what you've been through, you know, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you know, life has not always you know, given me lemonade. You know, I had to deal with lemons a lot in my earlier years, but I decided to take those lemons and say, okay, I'm going to make the best lemonade that you can possibly make, and then I'm going to share it with others, right? So it's not just about turning lemons into lemonade, but it's like, hey, I can take this and I can create something better. Then the biggest gift is when I can share it with others, right? And so that's what it's all about.
I love that. I love that message. I love the message of positivity, encouragement, empowerment. What type of programming do you have that?
Yeah, thank you. Actually have a few different components as of right now at how we actually work to empower youth. The first one is actually through a trauma-informed care art workshop. So we actually have an art program. Art has proven to be one of the most powerful tools to speak to others. You know, we're not always verbal with our mouths, right? Some people are not the best when it comes to speaking on certain things. And so what I love about our art workshop is it gives others who may not have a strong point in communication, but they're able to express themselves through art. And it's a very therapeutic type of thing. And so we provide workshops. I miss our in-person workshops because of COVID. Unfortunately, we've had to dial that back, but now we actually have virtual workshops. So the cool part is anybody can join. You can be in any state, any city, and all you have to do is just have the Zoom link and log online and do art with us. So that's super cool. So I do love it for that aspect. And I think that when things do start to kind of open up a little bit more in our communities, and we start to kind of get back into full swing of things, we'll probably implement both of them, just because we're giving those who don't live in Los Angeles County or Los Angeles, or they may not be in actual communities at that time, they can still join us and experience that. So what I love about the art is I partnered with a larger organization out of Venice, California by the name of A Window Between Worlds. And so they brought me on as what you call a social justice fellow. And that's somebody who's all about social justice and making a difference and systemic change. And I'm truly thankful that they honored me in that light and helped to train me to facilitate these types of workshops so that we can work to perform. And it's really just creating a safe space for these youth who are experiencing any level of trauma, right? Because trauma can be anything. It can be a car wreck, or it can be as extreme as domestic violence, but it gives them a safe space to come to create and something that belongs to them, something that they did that we can all celebrate. And I love that. So that's one program. We also have another program that we are rolling out that I'm really excited about, and it's called SOL Cares. And so with this particular program, we have partnered with another organization out in the San Fernando Valley, which they deal with youth and families who are survivors of domestic violence. So it's a really serious one, you know, and it's near and dear to our hearts because any youth that's going through that, it's a very serious subject, and we're they work to build awareness around what's going on. And unfortunately, since the start of the pandemic, that organization has dealt with an increase in domestic violence and having to pull families out with youth and get them into shelter and get them to a place where they can begin to restore them. And so where we're coming in is we're saying, hey, you've been able to get them to a safe space, and we want to begin to help to restore their lives. So what we're doing is we're pouring back into their lives with things that they need, like basic needs, clothing, food, those different types of things. Of course, encouragement and emotional support, so that we can be there to kind of uplift them during this time as they transition into a better quality of life.
I love that you're collaborating with other organizations. I think a lot of nonprofits miss the mark where there's so much opportunity and there's so many collaborators, because we're all in this together, and it's about, you know, finding those stakeholders who are also interested in helping the same demographic and community that you're, and also half the time it's like neighbors on neighbors on neighbors, you know, we're in the same community, we're just trying to help each other, and it's not about competition, but about that collaboration and finding the common ground and finding the programming that can help everybody. So that's great.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you. Really excited about that. You know, I believe that when we actually collaborate, and I'll just kind of speak on numbers, there's a lot of youth at risk in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a huge county with over 10 million people, right? And so there are so many people in this county, and there's a lot of great organizations out there working, but even in that, there's still a great need that needs to be fulfilled. And I'm just a firm believer that if we can position our mindsets to say that we're better together, right? And if we all join together and we began to create, we can make a larger impact and we can reach more lives that way. And, you know, as opposed to individually, like, oh, I'm just going to do my thing over here, you do your thing over there. Like, we can join together and we can actually make a bigger difference. And so I'm all for that. I love it. I think it's great because so many people benefit in that. So that's definitely a strategy of ours, is we love to partner with others and work to make that difference.
Yeah, thank you for doing that, because you're leading the trend here. Because in the nonprofit world, you know, you don't see that. You see more competition than anything, and it shouldn't be that way. You know, we're really trying to, the easiest way, the fastest way, the most efficient way for us to go forward is to go together. And,
Absolutely.
You know, and especially if we're talking about inclusion and we're talking about really trying to, you know, help our community, it's no one left behind, you know, it's just going forward.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for telling me so much about your programming. I want to know, like, what's your biggest need from the community? Like, how can the community reach out to you, and what can they give? I'm sure time and money, yes. Is there anything specific that your organization is in need of?
Yeah. So of course, you know, the first thing that comes to my mind is like volunteers. Like, we love volunteers. We appreciate their time, their skills. They bring so much value. It's not even just their time, but they have skill sets and different things that can actually really make a big difference. And so volunteers is a big thing. And we can, you know, we have a actual volunteer application on our website. So you can go directly on there to like fill out just a brief, like 2-minute app, maybe less, you know, and you just put in your information and we'll contact you back and work some things out with you. So that's one thing. Of course, resources, you know, we're a new nonprofit, we're a startup. So money is obviously, that's like how we're funded. I mean, that's how we operate, right? Like, we operate through funds. Like, we're so nonprofit organization that can, you know, can be fully successful and stay, you know, sustained without some type of income. So, you know, anyone who can donate on any level, that is greatly appreciated. And there are a few ways that you can donate to us if you're interested in, like, anything helps. $1 helps, $5 helps. If you want to say, hey, I'm going to pass on Starbucks today and just give $5, any amount is appreciated. And you can give directly on our website. On any of our social media websites, there's an opportunity to donate directly from our page. Yeah, on the website, there's a few different ways that you can give. So there we have given, made it super convenient for anybody to actually give online if that's what they want to do. Of course, in the community, when we have community events, those that give in person, and things of that nature. So it's all totally good. And then we have a charity list, especially for this particular program with SOL Cares. That's found on Amazon Smile. And so you'll have the link for that as well. I'll make sure to get that to you, where they can just go on if they want to just donate actual items. They can go on and take from our actual charity list and send that out, and it'll go directly to the organization so that they can have the needs there. So that's another way. And we just want good vibes and good people that love the idea of what we're doing, our mission, and just want to come together and make other people feel good. That's really what it's all about. So
fortunately, like, we're all in the same boat in terms of, like, we need funds for sure. There's so much room and so much opportunity for volunteers. Tell me, what would your volunteer do? Like, what do you need volunteers to do?
So what we would do initially for this particular program is, and we're going to give them a few different ways to volunteer. So for the SOL program, they have an opportunity to help us make care packages, because we're going to have care packages go out. If they want to just write the little notes and the little note cards, it's always good when you can give a part of your heart to somebody else. And sometimes I, share with people that those things can actually go a long way, because, when we give a kind word to someone, sometimes that can go way further than what money can buy, to just have someone say, hey, I know what you're going through, hang in there, stay strong, don't give up, or I've been there, and it's beautiful on the other side, keep going. Like, those types of things can really change a life. And so volunteers are able to help us with the outreach program, as far as, again, like care packages, writing notes. We have some admin stuff and things of that nature that folks can actually come on and help us with as well. And they can actually help remote. So if there is, if you're in another city or another state, totally fine. You can come on and we'll have a place for you. So that's pretty much that.
That's amazing. That's awesome. And you've been doing this, the program's been around for 10 years. So you've been involved with nonprofit and charities for quite some time. I'm curious, though. I do want to ask you this, and I'm going to ask you this on the recording. I'll edit it out if you don't like the answer. But
okay, that's fine.
I'm curious. So you worked for the program for 10 years. What inspired you to start, like, the organization that many years later?
Right. I know that's a great question. I've always just been happy and grateful to be able to give back in any type of capacity. And, I think what it was, I felt like one day, but I always felt like, well, I've got to work myself to get to a particular situation. I'm super ambitious a little bit. So I thought, oh, well, when I reach a certain place, maybe this is something that I'll do. And then it just happened, really. I felt like I wanted to be more prepared, if you will. But the thing about it is, I realized that sometimes in life, we're not always prepared to do it. But when the opportunity shows up and when it's time, I believe that's the most important part. It's just taking that step. And so I took the step, and I said, okay, I'm just going to go at this. I feel like now is the time, for whatever reason, even though I didn't feel like I was fully prepared, but I'm amazed to see how everything is coming together. And I'm truly grateful. So yeah, it definitely took a while, but I believe that sometimes we have to develop ourselves in certain areas and able to handle something on this level. And so I think that's probably that in a nutshell.
I hear you. Honestly, it does seem like a long time, but it's always that stepping stone. But I also think sometimes and I don't know if I'm sure it's either it's an upbringing thing or a woman thing or whatever. And we go, I'm not ready yet. But we are ready. I want to say, you are far beyond many people in this field, with the experience that you had, with the perspective that you bring to the table. And I think, yes, you waited 10 years. I did the same thing. I'm here now. Everybody's just kind of like, oh, and then we have kids, and then we get married, and we do this, and we do that, and like all this other stuff. But I'm telling you, if you're thinking about building a nonprofit or starting a nonprofit or a charity or something, you have an idea in your head, do it. I feel like we do, like we go, oh, the next step. And we've been doing those stepping stones. We've been stepping on those stones. We keep going. But we have so much experience, and I think we have to acknowledge that and go, we come a long way. You've come a long way, like being part of this program and building it. I thank you for it, because it is not easy work, and you're doing really great by these kids, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
We got it. You got it. Just keep going. You know already.
Keep going, right? Just keep going. That's what it's all about. It's just, there's a saying that I share with my kids and adults as well, whenever anyone that's looking for any type of advice, I always say, you will always win if you don't quit. So I just wanted to drop that little life gem. If we don't give up, if we don't quit, if we just keep going, the outcome will be victory. So, yeah.
I love that so much. Thank you so much, Michelle. Michelle Daniels-Holloway, S.P.E.A.K Out Loud Foundation, founder and executive director. Yeah. I'm going to put all the information on how to volunteer, how to donate, how to get in touch with Michelle. All of that stuff is going to be down at the bottom. And Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much. Take care.
Yeah. For more information about S.P.E.A.K Out Loud Foundation, go to speakoutloudfoundation.com, and we're going to give you a whole bunch of information about this organization down below. So don't forget to subscribe and like to find out more about not just this organization, but all the other organizations that we have lined up across the United States. Here we go.